Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back. Jesus loves you. So much going on right now, and it's only Monday. All pointing to a potential tribulation on the horizon and a potential rapture of the church. So I want to go over some of these things. Hakeem Jeffries is the Democratic Speaker of the House. He's essentially the leader of the Democratic Party. He meets secretly with, guess who? Jared Kushner. So you guys know that's my number one candidate for the Antichrist. You have the leader of the Democratic Party, not the Republican Party, right? Because Kushner is on the right. He's in the family of Trump, in the current administration. He's not a politician, but he somehow is given all this power and position. He's known as the special envoy to the Middle East, right? So he's the number one guy in the Middle East. He's the one who authored the Abraham Accords, right? One of the many, but he's the main dude. Trump has been quoted as saying, if he can't cause peace in the Middle East, then, quote, no one can. Huh? What is so special about this Jared creepy wooden doll looking guy? So that's from Francesca Fiorentini. She said that. That was pretty funny. Right? So we've seen pictures of Kushner. He looks really creepy. His eyes look soulless. He looks like the man of sin, essentially. Could be the son of perdition anytime Satan's ready to jump into him. Now, I don't know who the Antichrist is, but that's been my number one candidate for a long time. And it's just really interesting that you got the opposite party meeting with that guy too. What is going on? Well, we know as Christians what's going on, okay? I watch a lot of political channels right now. Watching them is reminding me that we're in the end times. Anytime I doubt it, even in my Christian walk as a Christian, now just watching the news, watching the political channels, it couldn't be more clear. Or I should say it has never been more clear, because I'm sure it can be more clear, and it will in the coming days, minutes, weeks, etc., as September approaches, right? So I predict that Jared Kushner will be more and more in the news. More people will understand, hear about him, know his name. He will become a household name potentially, because I believe he is going to rise. I believe Donald Trump is on the decline, just like John the Baptist had to decrease for Jesus to come up. I am not making comparison to Jesus. I'm saying that Donald Trump is the John the Baptist to the Antichrist, if he's not the Antichrist himself, which I'm also open to. So he is decreasing. His poll numbers are at like 20%. We've never, it's the worst it's ever been for any president ever. And like president, like in the middle of wars, like, right? So Trump is on the decline. I believe Jared Kushner is on the rise. Now, speaking of September, Anna Kasparian from the Young Turks, I'm quoting her here, right? She's a news reporter. I'm just reporting the news that I hear from the news reporters. She says, energy experts predict that we will run out of strategic petroleum reserves by September 1st, which is right around the corner. That's her full quote. She said, which is right around the corner. It almost seems like these people are seeing on the horizon the tribulation, and they are. They're even using biblical language, talking about God, talking about Jesus. It's here, guys. So Chris from Global Rapture Watchers has been talking about this forever. Now you have just regular news channels reporting the actual news, telling us September 1st, running out of strategic petroleum reserves, which is right around the corner, right? Right around the time of the Feast of Trumpets, as we are looking at that for a potential rapture date. Also, you have Iran giving us a deadline, giving America a deadline. Hey, if you guys don't shape up, whatever, we're going to start the war back again. Guess what? How many weeks? 3 weeks around the time of the Feast of Trumpets. Same timeline. Okay, you got Scott Bessent, Secretary of the Treasury of the United States. He admits that they're going to bring the US dollar down as a world currency by taking other countries off the US dollar. Somebody asks him in the crowd, right? Somebody in the press asks him, wouldn't that be financial disaster? You know, why are you doing this, essentially? Is what they're getting at. And he says, oh, yeah. He says, we're not going to do it now. We're not doing it now. Right? So essentially he's agreeing that, yes, it is going to be a financial disaster. That's why we're not doing it right now, but we're going to do it later. Right? That's the indication. Again, pointing to the later date of the tribulation starting. September, October, November, this fall season is the time that it seems that this stuff is about to go off the rails. Right now, we're still in a little peaceful period, even though we're all suffering still. It has not gone fully off the rails yet. Now you got Trump starting a trade war with Canada as if we didn't have enough issues as it is, right? One of our closest trade partners, especially for energy, Trump is telling them he's going to do 50% tariffs on them, etc. Right? They are the biggest importer to us of natural gas, oil, crude oil, right? We need Canada to make the gas from our crude oil. And Canada is threatening to match the tariffs dollar for dollar. Right? This is like one of our best allies. They say Israel is our greatest ally. Wrong. Canada is, if anything, is probably one of our best allies. Right? They actually do stuff for us. They actually do good stuff for us. We get imported stuff from them, like electricity, etc. Canada just said they would cut off, I think it's like some large percentage of states rely on electricity or things to make the electricity work from Canada. And Canada just threatened to take that off, like cut all that off. They said everything's on the table if Trump goes through with this, right? And it has something to do, Trump's doing economic warfare on Iran. Iran is saying, hey, we're not opening the Strait of Hormuz until Trump's out of office. So it almost seems like this is all planned, right? Planned demolition. Sort of like what happened in September, right? So, and the same thing with this guy saying that they're going to kick all these countries off the US dollar. It's like they're shooting themselves in the foot, just like Trump seems to be doing in his thing, but he doesn't care because he knows that he's in the pocket of everybody. They have a system, they're going to bring it in. He's the chosen one. He's the chosen one to bring in the system. Noahide laws in November, right? November 8th. Same time we're looking at the tribulation to start on November 8th, potentially if there's a rapture on September 11th, right? Which would be 57 days afterwards. There's a 57-day gap between the end of the 69th week of Daniel and the start of the church age. And it's also with Noah before he gets out of the ark. When he lands and from when he gets out of the ark, 57-day gap, right? So could there be another 57-day gap between the rapture and the tribulation? Well, if you put that gap there, that's also there at the beginning of the church age. What you do is you land on November 8th for the start of the tribulation, which is a few days after this Noahide law convention, right? Many of us believe that those are going to be the laws that are used and they're mentioned in Revelation 13 because the punishment in those laws is decapitation, as we read in Revelation 13. Also, I've been watching Phillip Barnett, and he's been saying that God told him, now I don't know, I don't believe in prophets, so I'm not really big on that. But the idea is that 2 months to the day, I believe, after the rapture of the church, which he says can only happen on a Feast of Trumpets. Interesting, right? That God told him supposedly that 2 months after that to the day would be the start of the tribulation with the Third World War, which would be November 11th, because September 11th is the Feast of Trumpets. 2 months later, there you go. So it's the same exact time frame that we're looking at for the start of tribulation and the start of a rapture, right? So it seems like everything is being done to bring down the US dollar, to bring down the US nation, to bring down everything, right? Yeah, because that's what they're doing. That's what they're put in place for. They're bringing it down to bring in the beast system. Why are they just trying to destroy the US dollar? That's crazy. Because they're trying to bring in the Bitcoin, digital currency. They want to get off the US currency and get onto the digital currency so that the whole world is watched and monitored through the beast system. Now, we as Christians understand this and know this. I'm watching news channels who are starting to sort of get it, but they don't know that. And they're going, it doesn't make any sense. They're trying to figure it out. Oh, they're like, is it power? Is it money? No, it's prophecy. They don't have that aspect, so they can't fully understand it. They can only see in part. We as Christians, we're sitting comfortable, essentially, right? No matter what situation we're in. I'm not saying none of us are suffering. A lot of us are suffering mentally, emotionally, physically, with finances. But no matter what situation we're in, God tells us he warned us of these things so that we would know who he is and that we would not be afraid, right? He's not given us the spirit of fear. And we know these things are supposed to happen. So there's no reason to be afraid. I'm not trying to fearmonger here. I am very against when people do that, right? And those of us who believe in the pre-tribulation rapture, well, our rescue seems to be coming up pretty soon, right? It's like if you're on a train, if you're on a subway, and when you're on that subway for a long time and you know the stops, you don't even have to watch every single stop. You kind of know. You look out the window, you see something, you're like, okay, 2 more stops, a few more minutes, I'll be at my stop. That's what all these signs for me are showing me. Okay, that's right. Yes, that's reminding me, yes, Jesus is coming soon. He's coming to pick us up. Our stop is about to come up. We're about to get off on our stop. Now, also, the Democrats are slated to win big time in the midterms. Now, the midterms are, I believe, on November 4th. Again, around that same time period. So it seems that there's this swing in the more radical directions on both the left and the right. The Democratic Socialists are getting more popular. They're getting in. They're getting elected. That was like unheard of. Like nobody thought that could actually happen. Why is it happening? Because everything that's happening is pushing us and making people wake up and realize the establishment is not working for us. The Republicans suck. The Democrats suck. Oh, wow. None of them are doing anything for us. They're simply helping the billionaires, the Epstein class, right? All the tax cuts are for the wealthy. They're not helping the average person. They're keeping us divided on these culture war issues, keeping us at each other's throats, left, right, left, right. Now the left and right are starting to unite and see that the true problem is them, right? And it always was them. We're just waking up to it. And it's coming to the point where the average American can hardly survive because the gas prices, the inflation, etc. They're telling us, oh, Trump just told us recently that he doesn't care about our finances. It doesn't even enter his mind, what to speak of caring. It doesn't even enter my mind, he says. Other people, Republicans, are saying, hey, you know what? If you got to pay a few more dollars in gas every single time you fill up your tank and all your diesel engines and, well, you should suck it up because Iran can't have a nuclear weapon or some other, wartime propaganda, talking point, bullshit, complete lie, utter, from the pits of hell, from Satan, the father of lies, and enter there, right? Like whatever lie it is, right? As they kill more Iranian schoolgirls, as they bomb schools. Well, Iran can't have a nuclear weapon, so therefore we have to bomb schoolgirls with your money. Yes, welcome to hell. Here we are. We are definitely here. But my friends, we know it's going just to get worse in the tribulation for the people who are left behind. So that's why you want to believe in Jesus today. You want to get your ticket. You want to get your pass to get on board with the rapture, right? You're saved by grace through faith alone in Christ Jesus and the gospel message that he died for your sins and rose from the grave. By believing those things, you have a ticket for free salvation. It's a gift. And I do believe in a pre-tribulation rapture, so I believe that the church will be taken out, the bride of Christ will be taken out before the time of Jacob's trouble. It's not the time of the church's trouble, it's the time of Jacob's trouble, right? The whole world right now is talking about Israel. It's almost like the number one thing on everybody's mind. This is all by design. So you have this system designed to implode and then bring up the new world order, right? The old world order has to die, and we have J.D. Vance on record, other politicians over and over and over saying we need a new world order. They're all in a big club and you're not part of it, as George Carlin famously said, right? We're getting it now. It took long enough. We can't, steer this ship around. It's going straight towards the iceberg, the proverbial iceberg, right? There's no way you can change this situation. I don't believe. That doesn't mean we shouldn't try. If you want to vote, if you want to try get out and do whatever you want to do, educate people, that's fine. That's great. Awesome. But from a prophetic point of view, there's no going back. This is it. We're at the age of the end of grace. What? No, the end of the age of grace. I switched that up. We're there, right? The stop is almost here. We're at the end of the 6,000 years, guys, right? We know this stuff. We're 7 years out from 6,000 years, and all this stuff is reminding us that it's showing, it's backing up what we're saying. Oh, you're crazy. You're date setting. You're saying that there could be a rapture on September 11th. You're damn right I'm saying there could be a rapture on September 11th. Why wouldn't you say that? Again, if you're a post-tribber, Yeah, of course he would say that. But these are pre-tribbers. I get it. It's fine. Everybody has their thing. You don't have to look at dates. You don't have to, if you want to watch every day, great. If you don't want to watch every day, or you do, you don't, it's all good. Do you? I'm not fighting with anybody. I don't want to fight anymore. I mean, that's not really true. I kind of do want to fight. I kind of want to fight with Christians still. I still want to call out stuff. But even that, guys, I feel like recently, I just feel like we're so close that it's like, we kind of did our part. We spoke out, but now it's like, I mean, forgive me for saying it, for you people who don't agree, but it's like, I feel like we're packing our bags, right? It's like we've been packing it's like you have a trip planned and, you know, you packed a bunch of stuff, but you still have a little left to pack. And we're at that last stage where you're like, well, yeah, I guess I could put it off. But then next thing you know, it's like, oh, shoot, the trip's tomorrow. Hey, get your last stuff and let's go. Right? It's like that Peter Gabriel song. I used to always love hearing this song as a kid. And now I see it as God, Jesus telling us in the song Salisbury Hill, right? Hey, my son, grab your things. I've come to take you home. This is it. He's coming to take us. Guys, that line from that song has been always with me since my childhood. That line has always brought me hope and happiness, you know? And here's the real thing. Jesus is our Father. Well, God the Father is our Father. Jesus is our brother, the Bible says. We're in the family of God now. How amazing is this? Just a little while more now. Right? One of these days, and it won't be long. We're almost there. We're almost at the finish line, I believe. You know, God is raising up his army of Lordship salvation believing, half-baked non-Christians think they're saved, you know, boasting in their works. People like Whitney Lynn. I always mess her name up. I always want to say Litany Wynn. That's not even a name. Although I kind of like that name better than Whitney Lynn. Like Litany Wynn. It's kind of cool. It just flows better. Now, maybe she's saved and she just fell into a false gospel. That's fine. She just put out a video citing every single lordship trope you could possibly imagine in one 2-minute short or 1 minute short. Unbelievable. Just the same old talking points. Like, even the demons believe, blah, 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 blah. If you love me, keep my commandments. Oh, ho, ho. And she's doing her performative Christian thing as she gets, quote unquote, persecuted on a plane as she just yells stuff on a plane and gets kicked off. That's persecution nowadays. There you go. Right? And again, even if you were persecuted, which she wasn't, even if you were, what you should do is be happy. Not cry and whine and yell about the airlines and, you know, complain because people are homosexuals who are kicking you off and complain that they don't speak English. Here we are. As Jake Lange gets knocked out by Spiderman. Here we are. Right? Jake Lange, the famous non-Christian, right? He's not a Christian, he's Jewish. Okay? It's known that he's Jewish. He's a Jewish person who's acting Christian and bringing a bad name on Christianity. Right? He goes into these Muslim neighborhoods, puts bacon on a Quran, burns Qurans, and then he gets, you know, pushback, and then he films it and he cries and whines. He's been in and out of jail. He was in the January 6th riot or whatever it was. I don't know. I'm kind of mixed on January 6th, but whatever it was, he was involved in that and he was in jail. I think that Trump pardons him. Well, he's back in jail now. Why? Because he went in a truck with a big cross. Oh, yes, because he's so Christian, right? That's the thing. These people always got to be performative. And a big sign that said, Jake Lange hates N-words. I'm not joking. That actually happened. Right? And Spider-Man, like a guy in a full Spider-Man suit, jumps up on the truck, is in midair, flying like a freaking superhero, and decks Jake Lange right in his dumb face. Sorry, Lord. I'm sorry. I shouldn't talk like that about people. But man, I cannot stand that guy. And I'm a little bit happy that kind of happened. Because, you know, if you're walking around with signs that say you hate N-words, stuff might happen. Now, I don't call for political violence. The Spider-Man did get put in jail. It is an assault. It is an attack. I don't think we should do that. Especially as Christians. Obviously, Christians should not be doing that. But, again, we're Christians. There's also like observing the world who don't necessarily live by our standards. And things happen. And I have to admit that I kind of like that meme. So, to be fair to Jake Lange, he did say on the sign that he loves black people. Well, you think, well, that sounds a little weird because you just said you hate the N-word, but you love black people? Oh, because he said, I love black people, but I hate N-words. Oh, so then it's okay. No, in my opinion, still not okay. But at the same time, yes, we do have free speech. I'm a free speech absolutist. So I do believe he has the right to do that. I don't think he should have been accosted or hit. I think Spiderman was wrong. There is a law against that. And there's going to be legal consequences for him. Jake Lange is in jail for inciting a riot because he rolled up with his boys in a truck on a sidewalk towards a crowd of people who were protesting in Minneapolis. So, yeah, and from my understanding, that's, you can't do that. Right? So, yeah, the sign, I'm spending too much time on this story, but it is pretty funny. I'm sure you guys already saw it. It's going everywhere, you know what I mean? But if you're like not into watching all this stuff, I could just let you know so you don't have to look it up. Or you could if you want. It's kind of funny. So, it's not the first time he's done this. He always plays the victim. He's obviously, like, even if you are a Christian, and even if you do think that Islam is really bad and it's Antichrist, as this guy Bryce says, oh, Islam is Antichrist. Is any other religion Antichrist, or just is? Why are you so obsessed with Islam? Because the right wing, situation has us obsessing about one group of people, and then, interestingly enough, supporting another group of people, and completely blindly supporting another religion that is also Antichrist, literally in the Bible. That Antichrist group and those people, no, those people you should support blindly and give all your money to and send your kids to die for them. I can't wait to get out of here, guys. This is a hellish situation. And it's just getting worse. Right? So yeah, he did say, I love black people, but I hate the N-words. Now, dear Jake Lange, newsflash, you're not Chris Rock. Okay? You're not black. Shut up. Nobody cares what you think. But why is he doing it? He's inflammatory. He wants the smoke. He wants the trouble. But he doesn't really want it. But he's got all his entourage there so he doesn't get hurt and stuff. And he walks around like a big victim. And, oh, see, the left is so bad. Oh. Dude, just put on a Klan outfit and march around like Hitler. Well, of course he won't march around like Hitler because not that, but So anyway, let me get off that story. So anyway, if you guys know the reference, right? Chris Rock has that joke about that, right? So essentially, he thinks that he can do that and have no consequence. This is the whole Whitney Lynn performative, charismatic Christian, oh, we need to cast demons out of everybody, otherwise you're not saved stuff. So it's a big mess. It's an absolute garbage dump, garbage fest, right? We got a lot of stories going on politically with these famous cases, right? I keep trying to remember her name. The lady who unalived her 3 children. That's a big thing right now. A lot of people are talking about that. I kind of wanted to make a video about that. I was debating if I should mention it or not, but it's a really sad case. And it reminds me of the Andrea Yates case, which, if you guys remember, I had been talking about that a while back. Andrea Yates also killed 3 of her kids. She drowned them in a bathtub. This lady allegedly, although she did admit to it, I believe, did the same thing. So my first thought when I heard this case was she Christian? And was she religious? And people might think, well, that's a strange thing to think, but no. These cases, 9 times out of 10, it's the same with the Mormon lady. I'm blanking on her name, the blonde Mormon lady who killed her kids, right? Why are all these people doing this? And they're always Christian. Well, it turns out that this lady, I gotta get her name, hold on. Lindsey Clancy, it just came to me. There we go. Yeah, so the Lindsey Clancy case. Lindsey Clancy is Catholic. So yes, I'm correct. All 3 of these major cases in where you had filicide, which is the parent unaliving their child, they were all Christian. What's going on? Why is that, right? So in the other 2 cases of Andrea Yates and the Mormon lady, they were both Well, let me start with the Mormon lady. She was involved in deliverance ministries. And so she heard demons tell her that she needs to unalive her kids because their spirit is in heaven and she needed to kill the body. Right? The same thing happened. There's a movie called Beware of Angels, which I recommend that everybody watch. Okay, I believe it's free on Tubi. Might even be on YouTube for free. Please watch that movie. It's very important for all Christians to understand this and understand spiritual warfare, what we're up against, and how the demons have this freedom given to them by God to impersonate good angels, even to impersonate Jesus himself. Right? Marvel not, the Bible says, for Satan also transforms himself into an angel of light. Right? And his servants are what? Ministers of righteousness. So there you go. There are all those fake ass Christians claiming to be super righteous and judging everybody else. And they are the ones, I believe, many of them, who will say, Lord, Lord, didn't I do all these things in your name? Didn't I go on the street with a sign that says, I hate people? If you're a Christian, you shouldn't be hating people, nor should you have a sign that talks about your hatred for people. You should work on that and stop hating people. This is 101, but they've literally taken this Christianity and created it into an antichrist, right? A Christianity without Christ, without the blood, without the sacrifice, without the gospel. It's a bloodless gospel. It's a Christless movement right now. It's become a political machine, a political, I'm not thinking of the word right now, but right? It's a political chess piece for the people in power and groups to just use the Christians to forward their evil agenda. And it's warped the minds so badly that I believe it's time to get out of here. I believe it's almost done, guys. When the church is so messed up like this, right? And they don't even know the gospel, and they don't even act like Jesus at all, and they're doing literally satanic stuff in the name of Jesus, you know it's time to go. And you know it's almost the age, I said it again, almost the age of the end of grace. Well, that too, right? It's almost the end of the age of grace, but it's also the age of the end of grace. That's true. Yeah, it goes both ways. So, is there anybody I didn't criticize in this video yet? So, Andrea Yates, she unalived her kids because she was following a false prophet in the Christian movement. He's a Christian false prophet. And he was so involved in her, and he convinced her that it's her job to get her kids to be saved. And the way to get them saved is to beat the crap out of them, literally. To make them behave and obey her. Because if she doesn't do that, then they won't be saved because they're sinful and whatever crap that this guy said. So she was trying, and she was doing all the punitive, abusive, potentially techniques of child rearing. She was doing it, but the kids, you know, they still wouldn't sit still. They still squirmed a little bit because maybe they had some energy, or maybe they're ADHD or whatever it is. And this false prophet took that as, oh, look, they're going against you, right? Of course, he has zero understanding of child development. And a lot of times what we perceive as adults as misbehavior is actually just an unrealistic expectation that we're putting on children because we don't understand the stage of development that they're in. Why won't this toddler stop putting things in their mouth, right? Why won't they just stop trying to touch the wall socket? I already told them. I already smacked their hand and told them no. Why do they keep doing it? Because you have to understand where they're at mentally, right? And then you won't take everything as a personal offense. And, oh my God, they need to respect me and all this stuff. So anyway, so she did that. She was trying her best to raise her kids, and she realized that, and this false prophet had her in such a cult-like mind control state and such a fear that it was her responsibility to get her kids saved, that she unalived them before, the age of accountability. Because she thought, well, once they hit the age of accountability, then it's done and they're going to burn in hell forever. So it's the better thing for me to do this. Now, obviously, that's not right. It's one of the worst things I can ever hear or that one could do, right? But most of the cases of this They call it altruistic filicide, meaning that they think that what they're doing is actually good for their kids. It's the best thing. So with Lindsey Clancy, it might be a similar thing. She's supposedly admitted to it. She's claiming, and the defense is claiming, that she had postpartum psychosis and that she was not in reality. So she can't be legally responsible for her actions, which is, that's part of the legal system, Constitution, etc., right? You have innocence until proven guilty. And if you're not legally capable of understanding right from wrong, and you're in a psychosis and you're separated from the concept of right and wrong, then you wouldn't be able to be held legally responsible. There's various, ways that can play out, right? So she can be guilty of first-degree murder if they find that she was legally competent and she premeditated it and did it. That's what the prosecutors want to get her on. If she's found to be mentally unwell at the time, she could get second-degree murder, or she could get not guilty by reason of insanity, in which case she would go to a mental facility, mental hospital. So it's not that she would be let free yet, but they would watch her, and she could potentially be there for her whole life anyway. In many cases, people are. Like Andrea Yates, for example, the one who unalived her 3 kids, she was found, I believe, she was found guilty at first, and then she was found innocent by reason of insanity on a appeal because of some issues with the original trial. And she went into a mental hospital, and she has been, from my understanding, she was able to leave, but she decided to stay there. And I looked up why, and there's various reasons, right? For guilt, for her own mental health. Her life is basically ruined. I'm sure that when she came to, she realized how horrible this was, right? So that's the same with Lindsey Clancy. She could be in there forever, or they could let her out if she shows that she is mentally capable of being out in the world. I'm sorry that this is going into a whole true crime thing here, but I'm just trying to cover a lot of ground. I usually would make this like a separate video, but I'm also getting eaten up by mosquitoes. Trying to do like 12 things at once. So yeah, the Lindsey Clancy thing is really sad. We'll see what happens. They're doing their closing arguments this week, or their last kind of things this week, so we might get a verdict soon. Who knows? It might take a little while. But it's really big right now in the news. I'm sure you guys are seeing it, and there's a lot of political back and forth on it. I get it. I don't want to get into that too much. I understand people's points on it in both directions. But it's just sad. And I think that I feel the need to point out the Christian aspect of it, right? Because almost all these cases are Christian. That's why the first thing I heard about her, I thought, I'll bet you in her mind, she thought somehow this was going to be beneficial to her kids. Because people say that, how could somebody do that to their kid? Exactly. How could they? And the answer is, she's crazy, or she lost her mind, or she was insane at the time. That's one explanation. Or they were convinced that it was the best thing for them, as crazy as that is. But you can see how religion can get in there and convince people of things like that. So religion can sometimes be dangerous. And also, more specifically, it was the influence of this false prophet guy in the case of the Andrea Yates, right? Because we understand the idea of age of accountability, but we would never think that it was good. We would always know that it's a sin to do that, of course, and you would protect your children. All right? You would fight to prevent that from happening. What to speak of, right, where the roles are reversed. And so it's a sign of the times we're in. I'm sure I could say a bunch more, but these mosquitoes are just eating me for dinner right now, and probably for dessert too. They're putting whipped cream on me, and just they got straws in my body. So I think I want to. I got to get inside, guys. So that's a sign of the end times too. The mosquito. Not playing. Who knows though? All right, so I'm looking at my list. Did I hit everything? I think I did, but I feel like there's more that I'm missing. Okay, so real quick, Trump. So they're saying that the Democrats are probably going to win in the midterm elections. Now, we know there's probably not going to be midterm elections, right? But the other idea is, check this out. This is the other piece of news. Supreme Court just passed something. I don't know all the details exactly, but basically they passed something that would have... Okay, so first they were trying to potentially block something that would stop Trump or others from rigging an election, right? Because there seems to be information that Trump might try to do something here that like will make sure that the Republicans win. So the Supreme Court was, people or whoever was trying to block that with the Supreme Court situation. Well, the Supreme Court essentially ruled in favor of Trump and allowing him to do this thing. Not saying he's going to do it, but people are speculating that maybe him or whoever, I don't know if he's doing it or somebody in his, that they could rig something so that he would stay in power. Obviously, he's still in power for the next 2 years, but I'm saying like that his cronies, the Republicans, would still be there so that they could do their stuff. And now the Supreme Court sided with Trump, which they always do, essentially, for the most part. And so we might see that, right? So Trump said, come on, Christians, get out and vote. We'll fix it so that you never have to vote again. What did he mean by that? Well, this might just be it. Once he's in there, he's in there. Do I believe that he's going to get out? Like, anyway, let's not get into that. But so, yeah, I believe it's all there. Trump is bringing in the Antichrist system. Many people believe that he is the AC. And I get it. I totally get it. Right? And then you got the other people who are in this fake Christianity side, hopefully the tribulation saints, hopefully they become tribulation saints, but many of them will just follow the Antichrist. And they're out here saying that Trump is chosen by God and he's God's mouthpiece and he's Cyrus and this and that and the other thing. And it couldn't be more divided. It couldn't be more black and white. Like, okay, one person is obviously really wrong. Now, I understand if you're saying Trump is being used to bring in the Antichrist system and that he's being used by God through that. Okay, if that's what you mean, I can kind of see. And maybe you still have fond feelings for Trump, so you don't want to say like, well, he's being used by Satan, right? If he's bringing in the Antichrist, do you think he's being used by God or by Satan? Now, you could argue that he's being used by both because God's allowing and God knows everything, and I get it, yeah, if that's what you mean. But a lot of times it's like, no, it's kind of a refusal to let go of this kind of love for Trump and realize the situation at hand and what he's doing and who he is and who he's revealing himself as. So yeah, I think that Trump is the chosen one. He's known as the Messiah in Israel. His face is on the temple coin for the third temple. I mean, what more do we need to say that he is at least part of the system bringing it in, if not the thing himself. So I love you guys so much. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. So it's a packed one. A lot going on. I can't believe it. Whew. By Thursday, the live stream, guys, if I see you there, it's going to be even more packed. I mean, I can't believe the amount of things that are happening in one day. It seems like the weekend things kind of take a break, right? I didn't even get into like the Iran wars too much. I mean, there's more on that front. Oh, man. Come, Lord Jesus. All right, guys. Love you so much. And I'll see you soon. Peace.